Greetings. This is Rabbi Aaron Box from Temple Beth Shalom in Ocala, Florida. Back again with my podcast for this week. I want to do something a little different this week. I want to talk about my wife. So, I've been a rabbi now for almost 12 years, and in the first, I don't know, 10 years or so of my rabbinate, my wife never really got to go out of town on her own. Either she was with me and the kids, or with me, or with the kids without me. And, I would go on these trips for professional reasons and work, and I would lead Israel trips and go to camp and this and that. And she never really complained. She was always doing what she needed to do, and there were a few times in which, she mentioned that she didn't really want me to go out of town when I had to go out of town, but I had to go, and that was that. Well, when we moved to Ocala, her company that she works for, which is an amazing company, by the way, um, agreed to let her stay working with them long distance, but she would be required to fly back up to Knoxville twice a year, sort of a retraining whatever new things she needs to know, but also to give her a chance to be in the office with the staff that she works with twice a year for a week or 5 days or whatever it is. And we've now been in Knoxville for 2 years. So this is, she's gone this week, Sunday through Thursday. And this is I guess, the third time that she's done it, maybe. And I will tell you, the first time that she left town for 5 nights, I was a bit nervous at first because, in my line of work as a rabbi, sometimes, or I should say, a lot of times, I don't know what my day is going to look like. I may have appointments on the schedule and I may have things I need to do, but at the end of the day, or whatever, if someone gets ill or someone has an accident or someone dies or whatever, my schedule is very flexible or not flexible, depending on how you look at it. And I was always afraid, what if Botch is out of town and, I can't pick the kids up at 5 o'clock or 5:15, or what if the kids have to go here, the kids have to go there, and I'm not able to do it because I have a work commitment. And, with Bacha being in town, it was never an issue. But with Bacha being out of town, I was, nervous that what would happen. Well, and I have to say, I can do my job without Bacha being here, but only for a few days. And that's what I want to talk about in this session, in this podcast session, because it is exhausting to be alone with the kids. Now, granted, I do have an 18-year-old daughter who is very, very helpful. But at the end of the, ultimately, I'm getting up in the morning with them, getting them ready for school, taking them to school, running to the school if they forget something, picking them up, and so on and so forth. Uh, it can be done, but we're on day 2.5 or so of my wife being gone, and I'm already exhausted. 2 days, 2 nights. I'm already exhausted. And yet, my wife, who is amazing, had been doing this for 10 years, 12 years now, because I've still been gone, a couple of times in the last 2 years for a conference and this and that. And she never complains. And she does it, and she never complains. I want to tell you that it is extremely valuable to have a spouse as wonderful as I do. It makes doing my job and doing the things I need to do that I enjoy doing in my job, and even the things I don't enjoy doing in my job, it enables me to do those things without having to worry. And I don't know if I've ever said thank you, or maybe I haven't. Maybe I have, but I certainly haven't said thank you enough. Uh, she's Wonder Woman, and needs to get the credit for that. And I don't know how often she actually listens to my blog, or my podcast, excuse me. But I hope that she hears this one, because this one is about her. and about how wonderful she is and amazing she is, and how um, thankful I am to have her in my life, to have her as the parents of my children, and to have her as my wife. She is, without a doubt, the easiest, single most easiest person to be with. She takes things in stride. She just does, and I hope one day our kids are able to really understand how great their mom is, and how appreciative I am of her. Um, still 2 more days before Bachi gets back. She gets back on Thursday evening, and so there's more work to do. But um, I'm thankful when she'll be back because she needs to know how appreciative I am of her and how much I appreciate her. But man, being a parent by yourself, even for just a few days, it's a lot, and yet she's done it. All the times I've been gone for Israel trips or conferences or whatnot, she's never complained. So, kudos to my wife. Kudos to wives everywhere, and to all of you out there in the world who are single parents, or at any point in your life have been a single parent. Kudos to you. You really should get more credit for what you do. It's a tough thing to do, and being a parent in itself is difficult. But when you're doing it alone, it's a lot. It's more. It's a lot more. And so, shorter blog this week, shorter podcast this week. Excuse me, not shorter blog, because I could go on forever and make this a very long podcast, but the topic is my wife and all single parents out there in the world and the work that they have to do. Botch is not a single parent, but I'm sure there have been times where she felt like she was, and so for that I give her lots of credit. And that's it. See you guys next week. Um, Hopefully next week we'll be at a better place in Israel, in the world. Obviously, my heart goes out to those in Baltimore, the victims and the families of the bridge collapse, and my thoughts and prayers and hope and everything also goes with all of those in Israel who are still suffering, whether they're fighting or in captivity. Um, Here's for a better week ahead and an early Shabbat Shalom.